fatal heart impacts, past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and pass. I back up my actions, fact don't ask, grab reactions, jacked attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused, call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose, pick a new silver excuse. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now, y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember, you're discreet out. Get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now, whenever we last left off with this series, we had Deku and his familia. Now, Deku's discovered the secret behind Xanxus' power. Xanxus is using a mix of two different sky flames, the storm and, well, you know, the sky flame. Now, Xanxus is using the harmony factor to combine sky and storm into a powerful flame that has more destructive power than the usual sky flame. Now, Deku, after discovering this, he did try to think of a way to take Xanxus down. And he's discovered, thanks to a little bit of a, well, clue reborn throughout there, that Deku might actually have to train harmony and use his own harmony factor against Xanxus. Now, with that being said, Deku's figured out at least two different elements that could help him. He could go Xanxus' route and go for Storm. However, that would probably be the most obvious thing Deku could do. Xanxus, he is a hitman. He is a mafioso. He knows exactly what Deku could do with that power, because he's had way more experience with it. And Deku decided to go for two different powers. Now, Deku wants to use the Cloud Flame and the Rain Flame against Xanxus. If he could find out how to use their special abilities and actually techniques, he could gain an edge over him. And that is what Deku has been trying to train for the last 3 months. He knows that if he does fail, his familia is in danger. And, well, yeah. Deku's tried training with Todoroki, finding that the Cloud Flame, that was very hard to do. And then he did go to see Kendo. And yeah. It wasn't really so much training, it was Deku talking to her. He let her in. He revealed exactly why he's so strict about trying not to head outside, trying not to go for the League of Villains right now. No. He has told them about how Vengola 9 does want them to train. And yeah, he's even told her about how Kendo, Momo, and Deku's told her about a few things. How most members of the Familia would eventually have died, and how Momo was supposed to die 2 weeks prior to this conversation. Now, Kendo was quite alarmed. It's so much information just to try and get a grasp on, a handle on. It's unbelievable. Now, Deku, yeah, he did then proceed to cry, since he had a bit of a breakdown. Now, we do actually have the next morning, where Reborn, he does go to wake up Deku. And he does go to check his room and find that Deku's not there. Okay, so the boy must be out training this morning. That's good. An early start, early to rise. Now, you actually have where he does head to the kitchen to get an espresso. And there actually is where Bakugo, he is actually starting to cook some things, along with even informing Reborn that his espresso's currently over with the coffee maker, or the espresso machine. And Reborn, he does look that way to see his cup, as he does talk about how Bakugo does make a good, well, espresso himself, and that he would be a fine chef one day. Maybe. I mean, It's a possibility, but for right now, it's really all I can do to pass time. I get bored. Training, fighting, and just cooking. It's all I really do, and I'm just wanting to go outside. I see. Now, he does turn his head to look around the room, and he does notice that two people are missing. I see. So, where's Izuku and Kendo? Hmm? I'm not sure. They. Deku should still be in his room, and Kendo, she might be in hers. Now, Reborn, he does look towards Momo, asking if she can go check on Kendo. Her going to stand talking about how she can. Now, she was going to run off, as she does head to Kendo's room and knock on the door, as she doesn't really get an answer. And then she does go to knock again, and there's still no answer, as she does decide to open the door and see what's going on. Now, you actually do have where she does see Deku and Kendo. Deku's leaning up against the bed, and he's holding the rain ring in his hand. And there is Kendo, who does have one of her arms laying over Deku's shoulder and onto his chest, as she's still passed out in her own bed. Oh, so this is where they've been. Now, she'll just do one thing. Bring out her phone and taking a picture, before turning to walk away. Now, Reborn, he does ask if she knows anything, and she would just pull out her phone and show a photo, talking about how he's guessing training ran a bit too late. I see. Well, I suppose sleeping in is good for them. If he is really pushing himself that much, it's good for him to have plenty of rest. Now, Deku, he would increase his training. He's beginning to understand harmonization. It did take him a little bit of time, but whenever he did think about it in a real, actual sitting, he thought about it the same way he does reverse his flames. Or the dying will breakthrough, I think it's called again. I'm not really too sure. Now, Deku does think of it that way. The same way he does go to freeze flames, whenever he does go to at least try to reverse them. He's trying to harmonize with going backwards. But if he does try to harmonize backwards, or at least try to start harmonizing, he might be able to throw in another element to it. Now, it took Deku about, 5 days to finally get it right. Deku was able to harmonize and put the blue flame with his own. Now, Deku was quite impressed with this, as he did immediately run to his familia and introduce them to his new power. Now, people were quite surprised. And Bakugo, yeah, he was having a bit of a riot. Now, because Bakugo did basically laugh at Deku because orange and blue, whenever you mix them together you get pink. Deku's orange flame from his hands do fade into a bluer color, before the tips of them do at least look pink, and appear that way. Now, Reborn, he was surprised at Deku's power, as he did inform him to fight against Bakugo. Now, Deku did do this, and during the fight, Deku did notice a few things. His stamina, it's either lower, or this technique, it's putting out more power than it should be. Deku's physical body is being drained, because he doesn't know how to regulate this new power. Now, the moment Deku did pick up on that, you do actually have a Reborn, he did cut the fight. As he did talk about how, with Deku's ability, he doesn't know exactly how to turn on or turn off the blue Rain Flame's ability. Bakugo was slowing down, But at the current rate that it's going, Deku might use Pure Flames and stop Bakugo's heart. Now, simply hearing that sentence actually caused Bakugo's heart to skip a beat. Deku could have killed him in that fight by accident. That's not something he wants to think about. Now, with that being said, Deku, he does ask Reborn for some help. And Reborn, he does inform him that for right now, he can't give him a hand. He's currently making a deal or talking to somebody he's trying to recruit for Deku's Familia. Now, Deku was confused. Reborn talking about how he's been talking to this person and trying to get their input. Deku's team, they do have one area where they are lacking. Really? Yes. What exactly does your team have? Fighters. We have people who are on the front lines. We have resources. We have money because of Mr. Yaoyorozu. We have all very good answers, but you're forgetting one. You don't have somebody monitoring your comms. You don't have somebody who they supply you with tech. You don't have anybody who gives you new resources and new items to use during combat. But the box weapons are what we have. Yes, I'm well aware of that. And the person I've been trying to recruit has finally at least agreed to my terms. Huh? Yes. Miss Hatsume, if I do believe, from UA. It did take some time and a little bit more effort than I thought it would take, but she's agreed to leave UA. Wait, what? Yes. She apparently wanted to be able to create many projects. Along with that, she did seem interested whenever we did show her Vengola technology. Okay, hang on. You're recruiting more people from UA, and you don't think she'd turn us in? No, I don't believe so. Why? You'll see whenever you do meet her. You'll understand. As for the current moment, I'm proud of you. You have gotten better with your flames. And if you do keep progressing this way, you might be on the road to beating Zanzis. No. Deku does hear about that. Okay, that's cool. So, he just needs to keep this up. His body, it's tough enough to handle the strain of putting 2 flames in. However, keeping that flame burning is a problem he does have. His stamina, he notices that he'll probably be able to hold that for what? A few minutes? Probably not even an hour? But maybe if he just does push himself a little bit more, then he'll do it. Now, that being said, Deku, he does continue to train, as he does start doing more physical workouts, trying to increase his stamina and even learn more about the Vengola attack. Now, we actually have towards the end of the 6 months, where Deku, he is standing in a room with Zanzis. Vengola 9, he is there. He came here today to see the final match between these two. Now, he does tell Zanzis that he does need to be aware. Killing is prohibited during this match. But he can go all out. I understand, 9. I see. Now, he does look towards Deku, asking Vengola Decimo if he is ready. I am. I see. The aura around him is quite different. Yes, it is. Reborn does say, talking about how that boy has taken his assignment seriously as Decimo. Has he now? That is correct. Along with that, he has learned a few things about his own flame. He has? Yes, he has. Now, You do actually have Xanthus who did look towards Reborn, and I whenever you did hear that. Did he learn that technique already? The one he doesn't know? Maybe. Maybe not. Now, he does just stare at Deku, as he does go blasting forwards with his guns. And he does go spin around and bring up his right hand as he does go try and blast at Deku. Now, Deku does bring up his hands, and he does blast to the right as he does go moving that way. Throwing down his right hand, he does blast forwards and go to bring up his hand. Now, this is where Xanthus, he is quite surprised. Deku's going for a literal rush, or a, well, death rush, I think it's called. A death charge, that's what it's called. Now, he is just wondering what he does plan to do. We actually have Deku, as he did go to blast forwards. He blasted forward at max speed, immediately going to bring up his hand and try to reverse the polarity of his front flame. In the last month, he turned his focus from trying to improve how fast he can try to switch off. Now, Deku, he does bring up his hand, as he does go to switch off and activate Rain Flames. As Xanthus, he does see a shot of blue for a second before it does turn purple. Deku directly smashing his hand right into Xanthus, catching him off guard. As soon as Deku does grab on Xanthus' right shoulder, he is going to bring up his left hand, or his right hand, and uppercut him as hard as he can before going to bring up his hand and spin it downwards, trying to grab down at Xanthus' face. Now, Deku is just trying to cover Xanthus in Rain Flames. If he can do that, he'll have the advantage here. Now, Xanthus was caught off guard since pink? What the fuck? Now, Xanthus does go to bring up one of his guns and try to blast at Deku. Deku, using his left hand, is going to actually go to smash down towards Xanthus' fingers. As he just knock the gun out of his hand, Xanthus is going to try and bring up his left hand. Now, the moment Xanthus does bring up his left hand, Deku does actually go grab his wrist and then go to try and turn it. Xanthus bringing up his other hand and immediately just punching Deku hard. As Deku, he does get sent flying. Now, after that does happen, Deku, he does actually go to spin back around towards Xanthus, who's flying towards his other gun. Going to pick it up as just look down at his hand, before actually going to bring up his left hand and try to pull the trigger with his finger. Now, he does look back up towards Deku. Clever trick. I see. So that's what he's been doing. So, Xanthus, I gotta say, I learned from you. I see. Well, it looks like you weren't some stupid idiot after all. I was wondering whenever you'd finally wise up to it. Oh, please, trust me. That's not the only thing I wised up to. Now, Xanthus is quite confused, as Deku does go rushing forwards and go to approach. Now, as Deku does do that, Xanthus does go to bring up his hands and fire both of his guns right together next to each other and blast them at Deku. As we do actually have Deku, who does bring up one of his hands and go to blast hard flames. Now, Deku's hard flames do collide with Xanthus, as you do actually have where the pink, it does start to change a little bit of color. And Xanthus, he does notice that as his flames do lose in the end, as Deku's flames do go flying past and smash on a wall. Xanthus blasting up into the air to dodge, as Deku does come in from the left and smash Xanthus right across the face. As Xanthus does get sent flying, he does go to bring up his left hand to try and throw down his gun, and fire to regain balance, as Deku does come flying in and smashing him directly into the stomach. Now, Xanthus was quite shocked. He's faster. Him smashing backwards into a wall as he goes flying down towards the ground. And both of his guns are now out of his hands. Now, Xanthus is quite surprised, as he does look up to see one Deku floating in the air, one to his right, and one where Deku was originally standing. He thinks he just got knocked so hard that he's hallucinating. However, Deku does bring up his hands. Xanthus watching as his flame ring or his sky ring, it's actually changing colors. It's phasing from orange to green and pink. And Deku does talk about how he has learned a few new tricks. I see. So that's what was confusing me. Here I thought you were using propagation, but you weren't. Rain flames. Ah. And here I thought you were faster and stronger. Turns out you're just cheating. You fight dirty. I'm almost proud of you. Now, Xanxus, he does go to reach for one of his guns, as Deku does come flying downwards and smashing right into the floor. As Xanxus does go to bring up his hand and grab what he believes to be a copy. Now, he does grab this copy's face and go to bring up his flames, as the copy does get disintegrated. Now, everyone was watching that, as Deku he does see that he is going to rush in. Now, the copy that Genesis does turn and go to punch, he actually is going to dodge away at it, as he does go to bring up his hand and grab Genesis by his wrist. As he does so, he does go to grip down as hard as he can and pour green flames into it. As he does go to bring up his right hand and directly grab Xanxus around his body, as he's going to bring up his right leg, smashing Xanxus in the back of his left leg and going to throw him back towards the ground. Now, as this does happen, Deku does do one thing. He does ignite his fist more and actually start to have the flames from his ring pour out harder and harder, as Deku does bring up both of his hands and go for an attack. Now, as that does happen, you do actually have the copy, which it does turn itself into pure sky flames and rain flames. Now, as this does happen, Xanxus he does go to get up. The moment he does go to blast downwards, he does barely escape the blast. As Deku, he did actually hit him with it. Now, the blast is actually going to destroy the bottom corner of the room, as everybody they do actually have to move to get away from the rubble. Now, as it has happened, Deku he does rush towards Xanxus, as now the man, he's slowed so much. Deku, he's probably faster than him now. However, there's the fact that Xanxus, he's never gotten this far. Okay, Deku does think. What I need to do now is just keep this up. Okay, the rain is dangerous. If I use it too much on him, he'll die. However, there's also propagation. Okay, let's see. I need to come up with a tactic I can use here for both. Now, as Deku he is flying, you actually do, however, the color of his flames do shift from green to pink. And Deku he does get ready. Now, this is quite the achievement. Deku just did a quick switch, and he does immediately go to split off into three using the propagation technique. Now, Xanxus he does watch that, as the three Dekus who did split up, they do split up more and more. And Xanxus is trying to keep his eye out for which one could be the real one. He's just trying to keep up. Okay, 1, 3, 9. Shit. Now, you do actually have two go to rush him, and both of them do go to throw out their hands as if they're going to do an X-burner. As both of them do directly land in front of Xanxus, and he does go to bring up his guns and take a step backwards. As you actually have one Deku behind him who does immediately go to sweep Xanxus' legs as both those two do rush forwards and both grab the gun. Now, the moment that has actually happened, you actually have the real Deku, who he did come rushing in and going to grab Xanxus' left gun, as he did immediately go to throw downwards and directly get on top of Xanxus, as he does directly hold the gun right to Xanxus' neck and ask him if he won. Now, you do actually have everybody. Navaria, Xanxus, Vingala 9, and well, Reborn, as all the other Dekus do start to disappear. Now, Xanxus he does look pissed. The expression on his face, the fact that this boy just beat him so casually, it's infuriating, but he's, well, kind of proud. The boy, he's a hitman for sure, but he's also a child. Now, Deku he does go to stand up on his feet, as he does go to reach down his hand and ask if he's ready to stand up again. Now, he does just look at Deku, And Deku, yeah. He knows that that was pretty cheap. However, it got the win. Now, Vangola 9 is looking at Deku, asking the boy if he has no tact. And Deku to just look at Vangola 9, asking him why a hitman would have tact. Now, 9 does try to explain to Deku. Their line of work, they are professionals. Such childish tricks aren't what need to. Vangola 9, this was a fight for my familia. I'm trying to say this without respect, or disrespect. But, if I'm fighting against an enemy, and I need to use a cheap trick to win, I will use it. I don't care who that enemy is. And, well, if you disagree with me, I'd say you're not fighting for your familia. You're fighting for your own pride. Now, the entire room does fall silent, as the flame on Deku's head does actually go to fall off, or, well, turn off. Now, Deku, yeah, he feels extremely exhausted. This whole fight, this whole experience, that last attack or, well, trick, it did work, but at the same time, it took quite a bit of his energy. Now, you do actually have Zanzius who doesn't burst out laughing, talking about how the kid sounds like a real hitman. However, at the same time, he does sound like a little shit. Now, Zanzius does tell Deku that he's quite impressed, that he still won. However, a bluff like that won't often work. He needs to be well aware. Now, he also does tell Deku that he really shouldn't reveal his tactics on the battlefield to enemies, since they can use it against you. Thanks. I was kind of aware of that, but I kind of relied on that to trick you. What do you mean? Well, I made you think I was going to blast you with rain flames, slow you down and possibly stop your heart to kill you. That's what the green blast was for. However, in all actuality, I didn't plan to do that. The moment you were focused on 2 copies of me, and the idea that you might actually get harmed or pushed your back against the wall, you kind of, well, what is the best way to say it? You thought the moment you went to dodge, you'd either be attacked or you'd be blasted again, right? You tried to take the attack head on and try and put your back against the wall so you couldn't be ambushed or flanked. I want to say that might have been your problem. Now, Zanzius does look at Vangola 10, as Deku does go to bring the gun up and hand it back to Zanzius. Now, Deku, yeah. The moment he does walk out of the room, he does go ahead and just sit down against the wall. Okay, I need a breather. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed. Have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.